What's up, my god, it's Johnny here, and today I'm not just going to be looking at Crash 2. I know I said in my last video that I just looked at Crash 2, but then again I looked at my gaming library with the 10 Crash games that I already have, and I realised I'd probably have a collective aneurysm if I tried looking at them one at a time. So I'm going to be looking at Crash 2, Warped, and Team Racing to end the Naughty Dog saga of Crash Month. The way I'm going to do this is I'm going to look at the games in different segments. Like, I'm going to look at all of them in story, presentation, and gameplay, and then give you my final verdict of whether I could recommend all three of these games all at once. So if I start off with a story, I'm going to go from Crash 2 story all the way to CTR story, and just sum them up and how I feel about the stories right there and then. So that's how it's going to work. But before I start rambling on, let's get started with Crash 2, Warped, and CTR. Lighting's a bit meh. Let's move to a different venue, shall we? Yep, that's better. Anyway, why don't we start this review with the stories? CTR's story takes place during a big kart racing tournament. An alien known as nitrous oxide from the planet Gasmoxia happens to come to Earth and challenges our best racers to race against him. If we win, he'll leave our planet alone. But if he wins, he gets to turn our planet into a concrete parking lot. I'd say we're fucked. If Crash and the others didn't respond to the call. So it's pretty much up to Crash, Coco, Cortex, or anyone else that you pick to play in the story mode, who knows, to save the world and beat Oxide in the big race. It's a racing game. What did you expect? Any more of a big story? If the answer is yes, then I'd say turn down your expectations a little bit. But if the answer was no, then fair enough. Because the story here, it's okay. In my opinion, it's okay. The fact we win, you get lost. If we lose, you basically turn a planet into an utter ball of concrete and dirt. So, nah. I don't know. I think people are going to bitch at me for that, but it really is just a okay story for me. Crash 2's story takes place directly after Crash 1. Cortex, after being defeated by Crash, plummets towards the Wumpa Islands and lands in some caverns, where he discovers a crystal, and he gets an idea. 1 year later, he discovers that crystal could power his Cortex space station. But there's a catch. He needs 25 other crystals to fully power it. And because he has no Earth operatives left, he pretty much has to do it himself. Or does he? Meanwhile on Earth, Crash is just lazing around with his sister Coco, whose laptop suddenly dies. Rip. But she sends Crash to go out and get a new battery for her, only for him to be teleported into a strange room with 5 doors, and to be greeted by a hologram of Cortex saying he needs Crash's help to collect the crystals and save the world. And so Crash, being the idiot he is, complies and goes along to save the world and gathering the 25 crystals. See, I like this story and how it could have been played out with Cortex supposedly turning a new leaf. Problem is, the title of the game says Cortex Strikes Back. And the first cutscene establishes that he's going to use them to power his space station and take over the world. Though funnily enough, I didn't actually know this, because whenever I played it, I didn't like watching the first cutscene, so I just pressed start and it skipped me straight to the warp room, so I didn't even know most of this, and I blindly trusted him. But now, watching the cutscene over and over again multiple times and having to understand the story, it could have been better to improve the tension for, like, say you could trust him. But then again, that's probably just a nitpick of mine. Crash Bandicoot 3's story resumes again directly after Crash Bandicoot 2. But it assumes you got the 100% ending, where N. Brio helps Crash and Coco destroy Cortex's space station after collecting every gem. 42 to be exact, but... Anyway, the story starts with Cortex's space station plummeting to Earth and crashing into a temple, with this blue aura floating out of it. This just speaks bad words to me. It cuts to Aku Aku, Coco, Crash, and Polar there, just chilling, doing their thing, and then they hear a maniacal laugh, and Aku Aku recognizes it, and orders the two of them to get inside. Meanwhile, with Cortex, this mysterious figure has revealed himself to be the one who is masterminding and orchestrating everything since the very beginning. He's the one that's been giving Cortex's orders. Whoa. But anyway. So, he's noticed that Cortex has failed a separate number of two times to get the gems and get the crystals, but he has not delivered. And so this mysterious figure decided to say, I will give you one more chance. I know how to get the gems and I know how to get the crystals, but you have one last chance, and I'm going with you to make sure you do it right. And Aku Aku explains to Crash and Coco that this mysterious figure is his twin brother, Uka Uka. Which, now that I think of it, is Aku Aku backwards. But he then teleports with Crash and Coco to the Time Twister machine, which is where Cortex and Uka Uka plan to get the crystals and gems. So it's up to Crash and Coco to travel back in time and maybe forward in time to grab the crystals before they do, to save the world. Again, it's a great story that involves time travel, which was kind of surprising when I first played the game. I didn't think it would go into time travel, even through the intro screen. I thought it pretty much just throw you into different parts of the world as it normally did, but no, time travel. I thought it was interesting. I think it's great. I especially love how they keep Uka Uka, as he starts off, hidden in shadows and with a dark reddish aura around him. Especially how they keep Entropy, who I forgot to mention in the story, in the shadows behind him, and as he slowly walks towards the screen and smiles at Cortex as if to say, this was by me. I'm running the show. I like this. I really do honestly like this. I think it's amazing. Like most of the stories in the Crash Bandicoot series, but yeah, gameplay wise hasn't really changed from Crash 2. You still have your spin, jump, long jump, crouch, slide, high jump, and body slam, which I think is really good. There's no need to really depart from the norm when you're playing these kind of games, because it's pretty much the same thing, just maybe 1 or 2 days later. It's not really that different, but then again, it's not really the same, because the boss, after you beat a boss in Crash 3, you gain a power-up. These power-ups can benefit you in different ways. The first power-up you get is the Supercharged Body Slam, which increases the range or the blast radius of your Body Slam. The power-ups after that go the Double Jump, the Death Tornado Spin, the Fruit Bazooka, and the Sprint. These power-ups can majorly benefit you if used correctly in the different levels. And I feel like this is a major improvement. Not really that it needed it, but it follows the path of if something's broke, if it's not broke, don't fix it, which is really good, and I really have to appreciate what they did with it. Naughty Dog, you did great with this. Well done. I props. I can't really fault with it. Fools. Gameplay wise, is actually quite different. Being a kart racer, it follows kind of the things of Mario Kart. Yes, you have your standard drive and steer, but you also have your power slide. And another thing that was introduced to Crash was boost pads and a boost gauge. You see, at the bottom right of your screen, probably about like here-ish maybe, there's a little gauge about like this, and if you do a power slide, it'll start to fill up with green until it turns to red. But if you press the alternate button that you're power sliding from, so if you're holding R1 to power slide, you press L1, you get an additional boost from it. You can do this about 3 times, but you don't only have to follow the little gauge in the corner, but you can also watch for the smoke that comes out of the exhaust of your kart. If it's white, then you can't boost from it. But if it turns black, that means you can use it for a boost. That I think is a good gameplay element, because for those who don't really like to take their eyes off of their kart and keep looking forward, can easily identify on what they're doing and easily find out if they can boost or not. Not only that, but there are also other boost pads that you can boost off of those into a power slide to gain an additional speed. That is actually pretty cool. Not only that, but also one thing I kind of hated about Mario Kart is the fact that of this thing called rubber banding. It's the fact that no matter if you're in last place, you're guaranteed to get the better items like mushrooms, stars, blue shells, and things like that. But if you're in first place, you're least likely to get the best items. So you're probably gonna get like green shells, bananas. There's maybe even like a lightning bolt or something. You're not really likely to get any decent items in first place. But in CTR, there's not much of this, because no matter what place you're in, you're more likely to get any item. Like for example, I used to race with a few of my friends, and whenever I was in first place, I sometimes got an Aku Aku mask or an Uka Uka mask. No matter if I was in second, third, or maybe even last, I usually got it. Especially most of the time, because I was in first, I usually win the race. Not only that, but it also gives you Wumpa Fruit. These Wumpa Fruit act kind of like the coins, I think. Like the more coins you get, the more coins, or Wumpa Fruit, as I should say, you get, the faster your kart goes. And if you happen to collect 10 Wumpa Fruit, your kart goes the best speed of the game, and the weapons that you get from the crates also get a power-up. So the TNT crates become Nitro crates. This is a really, really good mechanic, as it shows a risk and reward. If you get hit, you'll lose some Wumpa Fruit, but if you gain Wumpa Fruit, you'll get a reward of better weapons and better speed, which I feel like is a great addition to a kart racer, and it is brilliant. But another complaint of mine, and that's to do with Oxide Station, the final track of the game. You see, when you're playing through the story mode, you race on it before you race Oxide. And that's my complaint. You race on it before you race Oxide. I know people are going to be like, but Joni, that's good, because you get to learn the track before you race him, and it gives you an advantage over it. which, yeah, I can agree to, but that's why I don't like it, because I agree with that. It gives you an advantage. It's called Oxide Station. You're racing in Oxide's station. So I would assume, so I would have assumed that being the final stage, you would have to race him in his own station, but he'd have to like pull it on out from under you and say, "Oh, we're not racing on any of those normal tracks. We're racing in my station. We're racing my track." That I would have loved so much better, because then it made you have to learn it through losing to him over and over and over. That, in my opinion, would have made it so much better. Uh, Anyway, there's also a multiplayer burst mode where you can go into a battle arena or just race your friends, which I feel like is awesome. Not only that, but you can also unlock other additional characters such as Pura, Fake Crash, and Entropy, which you can only actually unlock if you beat his time trials, which seems fair enough. I mean, because he was pretty much the master of time in the Crash series. So, okay, props to Naughty Dog for that one. The gameplay of Crash 2 is absolutely better than the first game. Crash still has his jump and his spin attack, but he also has an additional few moves. These being a belly flop, a high jump, a long jump, a slide, and a crouch. These are crucial parts because each of these new moves can help benefit you not only in breaking crates but in traversing the levels in different ways. So now if I see a jump I don't think I'm gonna make, I can just use a slide jump and hope for the best that I can make it. That is so much better than just having to pray to God that a normal jump can make it. Oh. They also get a new vehicle, a part that is not actually the hog back from Crash 1. No, it's a new little animal that Crash jumps on the back of, and that is Polar, the baby polar bear. His levels work pretty much the same as the hog levels did, except I feel like the polar bear moves much faster and is much easier to control, and it's not as stiff when trying to move left or right or anything. So all in all, gameplay is pretty good. That's control wise. Box wise, again, you have to break all the crates to get the gem of the level. But unlike Crash 1 though, you can die as many times as you want in the level and you will still get the gem. Checkpoint boxes save the boxes that you've broken before them so you won't have to backtrack to get them. That is superb. As well as giving you a box counter at the end of the level so then you can know how many boxes you have or how many boxes you've missed. Oh my days. It's already become such a better game than Crash 1. It's already a better game than Crash 1. In addition to other crates, you also have what I call secure crates. One that can only be broken with a belly flop. And you also have the additional of nitro crates. You know, remember TNT crates? The fact that you jump on them and they give you a countdown to 3 to get the hell out of there? Well, nitro crates, if you jump on them or spin them or even touch them in the slightest, boom! And they're off, killing you instantly. Unless you have an Aku Aku mask, then you take a hit. But either way, they're a good addition, a great addition to the gameplay because it adds more caution to how you play. So if you see a nitro crate somewhere, you instantly think, hold up, this isn't right. I've got to move carefully. And I love this. I think it's a great addition. a bit of a bullshit addition to some levels, but I'll get to that later. So, that's it for gameplay for Crash 2. Presentation, oh my god, is amazing. The music for each level is beautiful. The levels themselves, they are great, and they are baffling on how much they have improved from the last game. And I love them so much. Even the boss themes for the different bosses, such as Tiny, Ripperoo, the Komodo Bros, Engine, these blew my mind. In fact, the one for Tiny is the reason why I was scared of him for the longest time when I was a kid. As well as the boss fight itself, but still. Anyway, so here's where it kind of declines a bit. The progression and the normal things of the levels are good, but they have the same camera problem as Crash 1, where some levels the camera's edged a bit because there are some moments where you have to backtrack to other parts and the camera doesn't change because level reasons, and you're supposed to be going not that way, this way's the way to progression. And that's a thing I found kind of annoying, but then again, I kind of got used to it as I played, like I did with Crash 1. In some levels, you also get these little things called death routes. These little routes are basic. You can only reach these routes only if you haven't died in the level once before getting to them. That is a good addition, but there is one particular level where it is implemented extremely poorly. For all you fans who have played Crash Bandicoot 2, you know what route I'm talking about. That belonging to Cold Hard Crash. This death route is bullshit. It has nitro crates placed everywhere, and even if you get to the end of the level, get to the end of the route, you need, and you're going for 100%, you can't get the gem for the death route. You have to get to the end, hit an exclamation point, steel crate, to summon more boxes, which you have to backtrack, destroy them, go back onto the death route platform, and then continue the level as normally. Just to get the normal box gem. And if you want the death route gem, you have to beat the death route, go through it. Just go through it once, get the gem at the end, but you miss the box gem. I have been one of those unlucky people who have tried to get the death route gem and the box gem at the same time. I regret it very much. But again, probably just nitpicking, but it's still something that bothered me really, really bad. The presentation, as always, is amazing. The levels music as you travel back and forward through time, the fact that it changes in like different sounds, it is amazing. The boss themes sound awesome. One of my favourites being the Dingodile theme. As you fight him in the Ice Age, that is brilliant. And I think not only that, but character models look amazing. And when you go through the time twister, when it's just the heads, they look so much more emotive than they do in the normal cutscenes. Because it may be just the head, but yet it only needs to be the head that gets across the emotions that the character is feeling and how they want to defeat Crash and Coco and stop them from foiling Cortex's plans. That is fucking superb, and I love it to pieces. It is a brilliant addition, and it's amazing. What's not quite amazing is the fact that most of the levels are vehicle levels. I know, couldn't really be helped. Like, add diversity to the game and things, but not saying that they looked bad. They looked stunning, But probably going back to gameplay, it didn't really work. Especially the motorbike level. Holy shit, those levels were difficult to control. It was especially difficult to get 100% on them because you felt so fucking slow. But anyway, that's the presentation and little complaints on gameplay. But still, either way, bro, the characters look as cartoony as ever. The presentation is amazing. The fact that the voice work is gorgeous and all. Well, gorgeous for the time, but as it is brilliant. Music work, it is amazing. Oh, the songs for the different tracks. My favourite one of the songs is the little song that plays as it like pans around, zooms around, looking for like the different kart racers who are improving their karts, fixing their karts up as they're getting ready to race each other, just so they can find out who will get to race Oxide. And it is brilliant. I have no complaints with that. Well, actually, I do have one little complaint, but that's with the multiplayer. See, if you're playing with a 4-player or maybe even 3 or 2-player split screen in the battle mode or the normal racing mode, the resolution and frame rate of the game will tend to drop. But then again, that's kind of to be expected because it is a PlayStation 1 game, and the PS1 could kind of just barely handle that as it was. So it's to be expected, and it may be a bit of a nitpick, but but you can kind of understand where I'm coming from with it. But other than that, I can find nothing bad with the presentation. But that's my honest opinion. If you think different, put it in the comments below. I don't mind. So the final question is, would I recommend these 3 games to anyone? Hell to the fuck yes, I would recommend these games. I would recommend them to anyone who wants to get into the Crash Bandicoot series. Well, unlike the first one. The first one is to show how they started and how they got from that to how he is now. And I feel like it is an amazing transformation to get from clunky, slow, and heavy controls to smooth, responsive, and beautiful controls, as well as amazing presentation, graphics, and gameplay, and everything in the background that needs to be improved. I feel like this could have been so much better, and it met my expectations greatly. So yes, I would most definitely recommend you play Crash 2 Cortex Strikes Back, Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped, and Crash Team Racing. Now, with that said, I guess I'd best be signing off. This is Jonic here, and I've still got a question to answer from a good friend. I think we'll get to a video on that. I'll see you guys later.